Imagine a world where encrypted messages of death arrive at your local newspaper. A world where a serial killer taunts the police with impunity. This was the chilling reality of Northern California during the late 60s and early 70s. An enigmatic figure emerged from the shadows, leaving behind a trail of unsolved murders and a community gripped with fear. This was no ordinary criminal. This was the Zodiac Killer, a name that would come to send shivers down the spine of America. The Zodiac Killer was not just content with his heinous acts. He reveled in the terror he caused, sending cryptic letters to newspapers, taunting law enforcement, and leaving them scrambling in a desperate race against time. With each letter he would deepen the mystery, the fear, and the enigma that was his identity. This is the haunting story of the Zodiac Killer, a man who played a deadly game of cat and mouse with law enforcement. Our journey into the macabre begins in the late 60s, a time of peace and love, and lurking beneath the surface, a sinister presence. In the late hours of December 20, 1968, the serene streets of Benicia, California were shattered by the brutal murders of two high school students, Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday. The young couple were found shot dead in their car, marking the beginning of a reign of terror. Fast forward to July 4, 1969. Darlene Ferrin and Mike Mageau were sitting in their car in a secluded parking lot in Vallejo, California when they were ambushed. Mageau survived the attack, but Ferrin wasn't as fortunate. A chilling phone call to the police made by the killer himself linked these two attacks. The following September, the Zodiac struck again. Lake Berryessa was the chosen location this time, a tranquil spot popular among picnickers and sunbathers. The victims were two college students, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard. While Hartnell survived the knife attack, Shepard succumbed to her injuries days later. The last known murder occurred in the heart of San Francisco on October 11, 1970. A cab driver, Paul Stein, was found shot to death in his taxi. A piece of Stein's blood-stained shirt was later sent to the San Francisco Chronicle as a macabre trophy, confirming the killer's identity. Between 1968 and 1974, the Zodiac Killer continued to taunt the police and the public with cryptic letters, his signature symbol, and more horrifyingly, the details of his murders. Despite the extensive investigations, the true identity of the Zodiac Killer has remained a mystery. By 1974, the Zodiac Killer had claimed at least 5 lives and left Northern California in a state of perpetual fear. Adding to the horror of the physical crimes, the Zodiac Killer had a penchant for psychological torment. He terrorized not only his victims but also the entire community through his cryptic letters. A hallmark of the Zodiac Killer's reign of terror were the letters he would send to newspapers. These weren't your run-of-the-mill letters, though. They were cryptic messages, each one a puzzle waiting to be solved. And inside these puzzles, a chilling blend of taunts, threats, and boasts, all aimed at law enforcement and the public. Each letter was a testament to the Zodiac's twisted mind, a mind that seemed to relish the fear and confusion it created. The letters were filled with ciphers, complex codes that the Zodiac claimed would reveal his true identity if cracked. But here's the catch: not all of these ciphers have been solved. Even today, more than 50 years later, some of the Zodiac's secrets remain locked away in his cryptic codes. These unsolved ciphers continue to taunt law enforcement and codebreakers alike. They are a lingering reminder of the Zodiac's knack for creating fear and uncertainty. And their unsolved status only adds to the terror, the mystery, the intrigue of the Zodiac Killer. And then there's the psychological impact of these letters on the public. Imagine living in Northern California during this time, picking up your morning paper, and seeing a new message from the Zodiac. The fear, the horror, the constant state of unease. It was all part of the Zodiac's twisted game. In a way, the Zodiac was more than just a serial killer. He was a master manipulator, using his letters to sow fear and panic. He understood the power of the written word, and he wielded it to devastating effect. The Zodiac Killer's letters brought a new dimension to his reign of terror, creating a chilling atmosphere of dread that lasted long after his killing stopped. Despite extensive investigations and numerous suspects, the Zodiac Killer's true identity remains a mystery. Over the decades, countless theories have been proposed. Some suggest the killer was a deranged genius, others posit he was an ordinary man hiding in plain sight. In the labyrinth of speculation, a few names have repeatedly surfaced, each shrouded in their own cloud of suspicion, but none conclusively linked to the Zodiac. Despite the passage of time, the case is far from cold. Today, driven by a relentless quest for justice, law enforcement and independent sleuths alike continue their pursuit, armed with modern technology. Cutting-edge forensic techniques, data analysis, and even crowdsourced detective work are being used in hopes of unmasking the Zodiac. The Zodiac Killer's case remains one of the most fascinating unsolved mysteries in criminal history, a chilling reminder that sometimes the monster under the bed is all too real.